A 24-year-old little fairy discovered a shortcut in life. She directly pursued the company boss and won his heart. Not long after, she bought a car and a house in a big city, and even opened her own store. Seeing that her goals had been achieved, she wanted to cut ties with the boss simply by saying, "Let's break up." However, the boss was not someone to be trifled with. He brought out evidence from their relationship and moved into the woman's house, demanding compensation.
就是说他不会放过我，他是说就算跟我同归于尽都不会放过我。
The little fairy was completely helpless in the face of her ex-boyfriend's shameless behavior. She couldn't fight him, she couldn't out-argue him, and she couldn't even win a lawsuit against him. With no other options, the utterly powerless Zhou Huijia had to seek help from journalists, trying to morally coerce him. She thought that the presence of cameras might intimidate her ex-boyfriend into backing off. However, the battle-hardened business tycoon Su Wen showed no fear at all. With just one glance, he saw through the mediator's intentions.
这一块我已经到了律师这里起诉他了，是吧？起诉你可以的，你到我律师那边去采访，到底什么东西？他有证据给你看。
Su Wen stated that he was willing to break up, but only under one condition: she must return all the money he had spent on her. He then took out his phone and showed hundreds of money transfer records. He even revealed that he had paid for the renovation of his girlfriend's house, and had also helped her pay off her credit card bills every month.
男女朋友嘛，那我做装饰的是应当的嘛，对不对？如果是没有我还买车去给他去还债嘛，对不对？
你还卖了一辆车啊？
啊，我买了一辆车都给他了。
卖了什么车？
买了福特。
福特。
我新车。
新车卖了。
他不是说的查信用卡。
Even so, Zhou Huijia still insisted that it was her family who had paid for the house renovation, claiming it had nothing to do with her boyfriend. Knowing the little fairy's true nature, Su Wen immediately turned around and called the renovation company.
钱是我付的不？
肯定是你付的，我肯定不找你找谁啊？
Su Wen stated that to make his girlfriend happy, he sold his beloved car and even pawned his gold ring. Because she was 26 years younger than him, he cherished her with all his heart. However, what Su Wen couldn't tolerate was that while he treated his girlfriend like a treasure, she treated him like an ATM, exploiting him to the extreme. What made it worse was that during their relationship, his girlfriend was entangled with 7 other young men.
和你所了解的，她的男朋友有多少个？除以之外的。
7个。
7个。
我知道的7个。
If that was all, it might still have been bearable. But Zhou Huijia went out partying with other men, got into trouble, and still expected him to pay for the consequences.
别人就完了，把车子报废掉了。
报废那是另外一回事。
什么回事？他跟别的男人出去的，把车子在高速上报废了，我还去给他给钱。
我借车给别人，
那
你愿意啊？
我愿意。你不是逼我去的吗？
我逼你，我能拽着你啊。
One incident after another left Su Wen exhausted. He was reluctant to let go and tried to persuade his girlfriend to settle down and behave. However, his girlfriend turned around and accused him of not trusting her, claiming she was just hanging out with her male best friends in a normal way.
是你的朋友吗？当时是说男闺蜜，还是说对，是男闺蜜啊？还是说比较亲近的关系？男朋友。
At this point, Su Wen finally woke up. He realized that his girlfriend had never loved him. She was just using him like an ATM. The man was deeply devoted, but the woman was indifferent. Not wanting to force things anymore, Su Wen asked her to return the money he had spent during their relationship so they could part ways peacefully. However, Zhou Huijia firmly refused, saying that her wasted youth was priceless. Eventually, the relationship completely broke down, and she immediately moved her male best friend into the house that Su Wen had paid to renovate.
当时我这个房子一装好了，他就把那个男人带着睡到这里。这个我在我们公司我都有的视频记录，什么东西睡到人家房间里，我还没有跟任何闹矛盾。
This time, Su Wen completely lost his temper. A tiger that doesn't show its power. You really think I'm a sick cat? People might not know, but he owned over 10 KTV clubs and was already worth tens of millions. The so-called Little Fairy was originally just one of his ordinary employees. Reading 10,000 books and traveling 10,000 miles cannot compare to finding a rich man for support. Zhou Huijia knew this principle well, so she frequently complained to the boss about how hard life was. She claimed that her family was poor, her father was addicted to gambling, and her mother was ill, in order to gain sympathy from this wealthy businessman.
他是哪一点幸运？
我就是我说的，我怀疑过来的，他那个口音让我缠住了。
什么事情呢？
他比如说人家车祸啦，什么都是别人都是说他就欺负他啦，有时他就说这个在人家那个店里面都是在人家店里面做事，有时怎么了，就是好像个个都是欺负他，个个都是很玩弄他。
Zhou Huijia's helpless and fragile appearance instantly triggered the boss's protective instincts. Without hesitation, he took out a large sum of money and handed it to Zhou Huijia, wiping away her sorrowful tears. Eventually, the two became lovers. However, it didn't take long for Su Wen to realize that his girlfriend's tragic experiences were all lies. By that time, he was already deeply enchanted by her, his mind clouded. To win her heart, he even sold his luxury villa to provide money for her to open a store.
跟你说明话，我把别墅都卖了。
你把别墅都卖了？
对，我把湘潭的一栋别墅卖了，卖掉了干嘛？他跟我保证的，再不做这一行，再不参与这个等于说这个行业进去，所以我说我把房子卖了，钱给你开定。
卖了多少钱？
卖了400万。
However, as time passed, Su Wen realized that no matter how much money he spent, he could never tame his girlfriend's wild heart. After waking up, Su Wen regained his intelligence and rationality. With clear logic and thorough reasoning, he laid out every single thing Zhou Huijia had done in front of the journalists, along with all the evidence. Zhou Huijia panicked and cried out for the mediator to save her. Seeing how intense the confrontation had become, the mediator had no choice but to bring in a professional lawyer to handle the situation.
本身来说你们是恋爱，对不对？那你在他身上花的这个钱，如果是说没有一个扎实的借条，那这样的一个行为很可能就是一个恋爱的一个赠与行为。我个人是觉得，就可能你还是觉得是属于有一股气，应该还是说感觉自己在这段感情当中你受伤害了，然后就是觉得他的一些态度让你很不爽，然后就是有一股气堵在这里，所以在这个过程当中，我可能的一个帮你的调解的方向，我不知道您认不认可，就是可能会让他给你补偿个4-5万块钱。
Boss Su Wen almost burst into laughter upon hearing the lawyer's suggestion. He firmly rejected the lawyer's view, stating, "A tree lives for its bark, and a man lives for his pride." He had no intention of backing down. Su Wen had far more professional legal representation. He wasn't here to create a scene. He was going to use the law to make his ex-girlfriend pay the price she deserved. Then, without hesitation, he stood up and left the room in a confident manner.
After reading this story, I am deeply moved. Feelings should be beautiful, but once they are mixed with too many calculations, the ending is often sigh-inducing. Su Wen was immersed in his self-woven fantasy of a hero saving a damsel in distress, believing that sincerity could bring true love, but reality gave him a harsh slap in the face. And what about Zhou Huijia? She treated love as a business, trying her best to extract benefits. Once she had squeezed everything out, she left without hesitation. But the question is this really all her fault? In this relationship, Su Wen tried to use money to exchange for love, attempting to bridge the gap of age and experience with material wealth. However, love is never charity, nor is it a transaction. He believed he had given his heart and soul, yet he ignored the fact that love should always be equal. But is he really the victim? Without his financial investments, would he have even had the chance to begin this relationship? On the other hand, Zhou Huijia chose a shortcut. She took advantage of Su Wen's feelings. But in the end, what did she gain? A fully renovated apartment? A reputation that got exposed? Or a black mark in her history that she can never erase? She might have thought she was smart, but in reality, she ultimately became a victim of this game herself. In real society, the battle between love and money is constantly being played out. Some say that love cannot be measured by money, while others argue that reality is cruel. No matter how deep the love is, without material support, it will eventually become weak and powerless. So here comes the question. If you were Su Wen, would you choose to maintain a relationship with money? And if you were Zhou Huijia, what choice would you make? In this trade-off between love and interests, who is truly the winner and who is the loser? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section, and let's discuss this clash between reason and emotion together. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Your support is very important to us, and we will continue to bring you better content. Thank you again for watching, and see you next time.